नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदयन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सथाम्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So I'm going to summarize or overview of Canto 5, Chapter 1. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. I humbly seek the blessings of all assembled Vaishnavas. Please forgive me for any misinterpretation. So we are going to start Canto 5. Canto 5 is titled as Creative Impetus. So the Bhagavatam discusses 10 subject matters. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Sukadeva Goswami mentions Sri Shukavacha Atra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utayah Manvantareshanu Katha Nirodho Muktir Ashraya. So the 10 subjects are Sarga means primary creation by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Visarga means the secondary creation by Lord Brahma of this universe. Of this universe's secondary creator is four-headed Brahma. Similarly, in this material world, innumerable universes are there, innumerable Brahmas. They become the secondary creators. Then the third topic is Sthanam, means the positioning of the planetary system. And then fifth topic is Poshanam, means the protection by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the sixth topic is Utayaha, means creative impetus. That is what is the title of this Canto 5, Creative Impetus, Utaya. Then talks about Manvantara, the change of Manus. Ishanukata means the topics of Lord's incarnations and devotees. Nirodha means going back home, back to Godhead. Mukti means liberation. And the 10th topic is Ashraya, means the supreme shelter, Lord Krishna, or the summum bonum. In this way, Bhagavatam discusses 10 topics. Out of the one of the topic was the Utayaha, creative impetus. That is what fifth canto. So, what is the impetus for creation of this material world? Is the living entity forgets the Supreme Lord. Due to this forgetfulness, he engages in fruitive activities. He thinks he is the maintainer, so he engages in fruitive work to maintain himself. Because of this fruitive activity, he creates a residual impression within his consciousness. That consciousness carried from one life to another life. In this way, he takes repeated birth. And the sum total of all these are the creative impetus. In one of the verses in Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami says, Buddhi Indriya Mana Pranam Jananam Asrajat Prabhu Matrartam cha Bhavartam cha Atmane Akalpanaya cha. So the living entity is given this material intelligence, Buddhi, the material senses, Indriya, the mind, and the life air by the Supreme Lord. By these instruments, he engages in fruitive activities, takes repeated birth, and eventually gives up the material motives and attains liberation. So all these three purposes are fulfilled by this material world. Now these 12 cantos, there are 12 cantos in Srimad Bhagavatam. That 12 cantos represent different limbs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Like the first canto and second canto together represents the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And 10th canto represents the beautiful lotus face of Krishna. And this fifth canto represented by the lotus navel of Supreme Lord. From that lotus navel, Lord Brahma is created. Now, the first chapter of fifth canto is titled as The Activities of Maharaja Priyavrata. Maharaja Priyavrata was the son of Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva Manu was the son of Lord Brahma. So Maharaja Priyavrata is the grandson of Lord Brahma. And he had a brother, Uttanapada. Uttanapada's son was Dhruva Maharaj. Maharaja Priyavrata, he was completely detached. He was engaged in devotional service, fully attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the instruction of Narada Muni. But later, his father, Swayambhuva Manu, instructed him to take up the responsibility of ruling over the kingdom. Maharaja Priyavrata was not interested. He was hesitating. At that time, Lord Brahma appears. He comes from his abode of Brahmaloka to instruct Priyavrata to take up the responsibility, and he gives him the instruction that one must perform, one cannot avoid the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not by the strength of severe austerities, an exalted Vedic education, or the power of mystic yoga. One cannot avoid the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everybody, he says, Lord Brahma says, including Lord Shiva and Swayambhuva Manu, Maharshi Narada, must carry out the order of Supreme Lord. We cannot deviate from his order. In this way, Lord Brahma instructs to Priyavrata, and eventually he agrees to rule over the kingdom. Then Maharaja Priyavrata marries. His wife's name was she was the daughter of Vishwakarma, and her name was Bharishani something. Let me just check. Yeah, her name was Bharishmati. She was the daughter of Vishwakarma. From his wife, he had 10 sons. Starting, the first son was Agnitra. Out of these 10 sons, 3 of the sons were from the very beginning of their life, they were strictly brahmacharis, strictly followed celibacy, and later fully attached to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then took up the renounced order of life and attained the highest Paramahamsa stage. They were not interested in any of these worldly affairs of the kingdom. After 10 sons, he had Maharaja Priyavrata had a daughter. So her name, she got married to Shukracharya. And from Shukracharya, she had a daughter called Devayani. So in this way, from the first wife, we had 10 sons and 1 daughter. And Maharaja Priyavrata married second wife From second wife, he had three sons. Uh, they are called, they also become, these three sons, they later become uh, the Manus. During the day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. The first Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. Currently, we are in the seventh Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Lord Krishna says, Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Hamavyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Manar Ikshvakve Abravit. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna that I spoke this science of yoga to sun god Vivaswan millenniums, many millions of years ago. And Vivaswan spoke this knowledge to his son Manu. That Manu was Vaivasvata Manu. That's the current Manu, seventh Manu. And Manu spoke to his son Ikshak. In this way, this knowledge was passed on. So currently, we are in the seventh Manu. Now, these three sons from the second wife of Maharaja Priyavrata, they are named Uttama, Amasa, and Raivata. They become the Manus. They become the third, fourth, and fifth Manu. Now, King Priyavrata was engaged in enjoying the opulences of the royal king. He was very powerful. So, Shukadeva Goswami was explaining this pastime to Maharaja Parikshit. So Parikshit was struck with wonder how a devotee completely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord by the instructions of Narada Muni becomes so much attached to his wife and children and the kingdom. So to that, Sukadeva Goswami explaining these pastimes. So Maharaja Priyavrata, once he was not satisfied with the sun god. Sun god goes in an orbit in the Brahma Samhita. It says, Yat Shakshuresha Savita Sakala Grihanam Raja Samasta Suramurtir Asheshate Yasyajnaya Brahmati Samurta Kalchakra Goindamadi Purusham Tamahamaya. That sun is the eye of the Supreme Personality Godhead, moves in an orbit, riding the chariot or of time. So, sun, due to the movement of the sun, there will be day and night. Once Priyavrata was not happy that some part of his kingdom did not get sunlight, it was dark. So he decided to ride his chariot in the orbit of sun and illuminated that part of the land. And because he was riding a chariot, that the wheel of the chariot created some impression. And due to this, there are 7 islands were created. These islands consisted of, these 7 islands were consisted of salt water, sugarcane juice, liquor, clarified butter, milk, yogurt, and drinking water, sweet drinking water. In this way, 7 oceans were created. Due to these 7 oceans, there were 7 islands were created. So King Priyavrata gave these 7 islands to his 7 sons, and they became the rulers of this island. Then Maharaja Priyavrata was very much attached to his wife, first wife, Barishmati. Later on, he came to his senses. While in that, due to his past Krishna conscious activities, he came to consciousness that while enjoying this material opulence with full strength and influence, Maharaja Priyavrata once began to consider that although he had fully surrendered to the great saint Narada, was actually on the path of Krishna consciousness, he had somehow become again entangled in material activities. Thus, his mind now became restless and he began to speak in a spirit of renunciation. The king thus began criticizing himself. Alas, how condemned I have become because of my sense gratification. I have now fallen into material enjoyment, which is exactly like a covered well. I have had enough. I am not going to enjoy anymore. Just see how I have become like a dancing monkey in the hands of my wife. Because of this, I am condemned. By the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maharaja Priyavrata reawakened his senses. He divided all his earthly possessions among his obedient sons. He gave up everything, including his wife, from whom he enjoyed so much sense gratification, and his great opulent kingdom, and he completely renounced all attachment. His heart, having thus cleansed, became a place of pastimes for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, he was able to return to the path of Krishna consciousness, spiritual life, and resume the position he had attained by the grace of great sage Narada. So, in this way, this chapter talks about Maharaja Priyavrata's activities, and later in this canto talks about his son Agnidra's activities and his son, and then later uh, Rishabdev. They all come from this. They're all descendants of Maharaja Priyavrata, Rishabdev, and then Bharat Maharaj. And later on in this canto talks about the different planetary systems. So Lord Brahma, while in this canto chapter, Lord Brahma, while instructing Maharaja Priyavrata, he gives a very nice spiritual instructions to Lord Brahma. Oh, sorry, to Priyavrata. So I'll stop here. Thank you